Good morning. This is Pucks and Dreams. Today is December the 22nd, and the World Juniors are starting tonight. So I wanted to just talk about a few things that are popping up on the radar. We see a tune-up game tonight, the USA playing Finland. So that should be an interesting game. And then I wanted to just comment. I saw an interesting story on TSN, which was a little bit concerning about, I would say, specifically about Quinton Byfield. And I guess what's interesting is the second overall draft pick that went to Los Angeles is being slated right now for what they're calling the fourth line. And I think, if anyone watched him last year, he really struggled in the World Juniors. And then here we are again. They're talking about how he had a slow start. Now, I realize that maybe, I don't know, they've been under the bubble for a long time. Or they've been in that selection camp because they basically had two teams that were going head to head for quite a while. So I think in total, they might be in like 30 to 40 days. Maybe it's longer than that now before they pick the team. So Quinton, my concern about Quinton was, first of all, that performance last year at the World Juniors. We know he's had a lot of success in the OHL, and he's a big, talented player, and he's got a good skill level. But the one thing that you notice about him last year was that he scores in transition in the OHL. So he scores often when it's like 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, or there's a turnover, and he's going not quite coast to coast, but he's definitely leading a rush coast to coast, and he's not scoring in tight. And I think what we saw last year in the World Juniors is that he struggles in tight. And we know that in the World Juniors, you're playing the top players in the world. So I worry a little bit about him in tight still. And I think this is why, last year I probably had Tim Stützle ahead of him, because Tim shows time and again that in tight areas, he's got explosive speed. He's able to slice and dice between defenders and create opportunity. And he consistently wins battles on the boards. And I think these are things that maybe Quinton struggles with. And now I'm a little worried that we're seeing this again. So it's something to keep an eye on. As far as the game tonight with Team USA, that'll be on the NHL Network. And let's see. I think Cole Caulfield is someone to watch. Here's a smaller player that, again, I think he had a little bit, maybe, I don't know if he's being used correctly at his school, but, I think he's going to excel on the World Junior stage. You're going to see just how much talent this guy has and his goal scoring ability at the World Juniors. So I think that's going to be probably one of the big players to watch. Who are you looking for? I'm curious, and what do you expect out of the tune-up game tonight? Team Finland is a little bit strange too this year. Let's take a look here if we can actually get the damn roster to come up. So yeah, it starts at 3 p.m. Pacific. Yeah, Team Finland, I think to me, the guy to watch on Team Finland is Anton Lundell. He went 12th overall to the Florida Panthers. I really like this guy. I think he's got a maturity about his game. I don't know if he's a fancy player, but he's kind of like a 200-foot player but he scores in professional hockey. I think he's going to be very effective at the World Juniors. So I think he's interesting to watch. And then defenseman Ville Heinola, who is a 20th overall pick in 2019 to the Winnipeg Jets. I really like him. He's growing on me more and more. He's got a little bit of grit. He can skate, and he makes good outlet passes. So I think he'll be an important player for Finland. And then, again, going back to Team USA, some other players obviously to watch. Alex Turcotte from the LA Kings. He was a high draft pick for them 2 years ago. Highly talented player, 200-foot player, wins faceoffs, does a lot of things really well. Their goalie, Spencer Knight, and I'll mention also Dustin Wolf, who I believe will probably end up playing the backup again. He's our goalie in Everett, a phenomenal goalie. So I think they're really, really solid in goal, maybe the best in the tournament. Russia might challenge that a little bit with Oh my God, my brain is not working this morning. With Askarov, I was going to say Yakarov, but it's Askarov, the Nashville Predators goalie. Obviously, I'm very high on him. He's really, really good. But, still, you got to think Spencer Knight and Dustin Wolf probably formed the best duo in the whole tournament. Trevor Zegras, highly skilled player for the Anaheim Ducks, or drafted for the Anaheim Ducks. You've got to project him in the NHL, not too distant future. Cam York, a Philadelphia Flyers draft pick on defense. Like these are some of the players to watch out for in Team USA. So it'll be interesting to see in the tune-up game how they do. You've got to think that Team USA also has guys like, do they have Owen Power on the team? Jesus, I think he might be. I think Owen Power is on there. Or no, he didn't come. That's right. He stayed at Michigan. So that was a weird one. He might be the top defenseman in the upcoming NHL draft, and yet here he is. He's not in the World Junior. So I think that's a real mistake. Kind of strange for NCAA or for him to make that choice, but that would have been the big story, is having him on that D would have really helped. But, they're obviously very deep in spite of that. So it should be an interesting tune-up game. The other defenseman to watch for Team USA is Jake Sanderson. And the more I watch this guy, the more he grows on me. I think he's projects to be a very big, strong defenseman and can play tough one-on-one. I also think, though, he could skate really well, and he's got good offensive characteristics. Like, he bumped ahead of Jamie Drysdale, I think, for a reason. And I think that's legitimate. And I think the Ottawa Senators have got a stud D there who is really just going to, maybe he ends up being kind of like a number 2 or number 3 in the NHL, but he's going to be up there. Like, he has a maturity to his game. He can really, really skate. He's got good offensive numbers, and he's a big, strong guy. So lots to look forward to the game tonight. So, again, that game is on at 3 p.m. on the NHL Network, and that's Pacific time, or 6 p.m. is when the broadcast starts. So I think the game is actually 30 minutes later. Who do you got in that game? I don't think I'm too worried about the outcome per se, but it's going to be interesting to watch Team USA. They have lots of skill, lots of depth at every position. Team Flynn's a bit of question for me, even though they have Anton Lundell. I don't know if they have a lot of the talent that they might have had in years past. So that's going to be really interesting. All right, well, that's all I have for this particular video. So we'll jump on later tonight and also continue to talk about the NHL expansion draft and what to see from other teams, including Team Canada and Team Russia.